Hey everybody, welcome to the For Knit Sakes channel. My name is Allison and I am coming to you from El Paso, Texas. If you are new stumbling onto my little corner of the internet, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you are a returning viewer, thanks for coming back to sit and chat with me. So as you can see, I have a chair to sit in now. It's fabulous. So now I won't have issues of my feet falling asleep because I was sitting on the floor before, but I rearranged. I'm sitting in like my craft room. It's like a little add-on space to the master bedroom, and I kind of took it over as my knitting, sewing, ukulele playing area. But I'm really excited to now have a chair to sit in, and hopefully it'll stick like this. I'll try really hard not to rock back and forth. It's one of those IKEA chairs that's not really a rocking chair, but it's suspended so it kind of like bounces. I'll try really hard to keep still. But thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm coming to you from El Paso, Texas. If you haven't watched before, I'm a military spouse. We've moved 4 times in the last 9 years, so we're gonna be here for a while. And I also have done a little self-imposed challenge of knitting only from my stash from January 1st through July the 1st. And then I bought some yarn, and then I decided I'm not going to buy any yarn for the rest of the year unless I have a specific project in mind, because I have a decent stash. I have this bookcase over here, and I have 6 of these bins. They're not all full, but they're pretty much full. Like, this is 1 fingering weight bin. I took some out so I could have some on the bookcase for you guys to see, so my background wouldn't be completely boring. And I have my Hue Shift Afghan from Knit Picks that I have up here. So I'm trying really hard to knit from my stash for the rest of the year unless I have a specific project in mind. I'm trying to pair yarns to do shawls. I am kind of losing some sock knitting motivation just because I'm not wearing them very often because it's almost 100 degrees every day in El Paso, and so I'm not wearing socks. I'm wearing clothes that are comfortable, and wool socks is not one of them. If our AC happens to be a little low, like temperature low, then sometimes I'll put socks on if it's a little chilly inside the house. But other than that, I'm not really wearing socks that much. So today is Friday, August the 11th. My husband and I just celebrated our 9th wedding anniversary on Tuesday, August the 8th. We got married on 8/8/08. We did not intentionally get married because I know it was like the thing to get married on like 6/6/06, 7/7/07, 8/8/08. We wanted to get married on the 9th, which was a Saturday that year, but the place we wanted to get married at was booked. So we ended up getting married on the 8th. So now we have the cliche 8/8/08 wedding that a lot of people seem to have anniversaries on. So, but 9 years, and we've been together for 11 and a half, and we have 2 cute little boys, Levi and Oliver. One of them might make an appearance. They're usually hungry about halfway through my filming. So, but since I'm coming to you just a week from last week, hopefully today's episode will be kind of short. I have been knitting a whole bunch in anticipation of starting school on the 21st. I have to renew a teaching license, so I am taking 1 class this semester and 1 class next semester online to renew my Virginia teaching license. So I've been knitting a whole lot, and my right hand is not super happy about it. It's right here where it hurts. So I don't know what other knitters have. Maybe I could have some guidance on how to fix that, other than just like I keep massaging it, so like I keep pushing into the muscle. Hopefully it'll feel a little bit better. Because not knitting really isn't an option for me, unfortunately. So I hope you guys enjoyed the new setup, and I know it's a little different. We'll get used to it, but we'll hop in. I am caffeinated, I am showered, and I'm ready to go. So we're gonna start actually with the 300, the writing prompt for the week, and I have it bookmarked. This is the same question that I asked in one of the groups that I admin. And it's not really a question, it's a complete this thought. I wish an alarm would notify me whenever ... And I said, because I've been having really bad issues with if I open up like a bag of chips or a bag of M&Ms that I picked up earlier this week, I don't think to stop after a while. And so an alarm would really be nice to remind me, like if I've eaten the serving size or whatever, to put it down. And then a lot of other people had really good responses, like to notify you when the laundry has been sitting too long in the washer, so then you don't have to rewash it. I know some of us have done that before. We've left something in the washer for too long and then it has that musty smell, so you have to rewash it. That would be a really great alarm to have. Another one, somebody said, figuratively and actually, when your pot's about to boil over. So as moms, we usually try to keep our cool, and sometimes we don't, and then the pot boils over. So that one was a really good one too. My friend Anna said that one. So I thought that was a pretty good writing prompt for this week to start off the podcast a little bit. So after that, we will hop in straight to FOs. I have two, and one I'm really super excited about, and then another one is ending up being a gift. So I'll start with the one that's a gift, and it is my simple skip socks that I had on the needles. They were done 2 at a time on size 0s, 64 stitches. So I finally finished them. This is yarn that I had over dyed using just some Wilton icing gel, the little pots. And this is just some Knit Pick Stroll in navy. It looks black on the camera, but I was getting really tired of doing the skips every other row. So I don't know if you can tell, but I started to space, there you go. I started to space them out a little bit more. So like every 3 rows, every 4 rows, every 5 rows. So it kind of gradually got less and less as you got farther down the foot. And so I've done both of them. The magic of 2 at a time. Get them in the picture, there we go. So they're gonna be shorties, and I still have some yarn left over that's gonna go on my Cozy Memories blanket and my Scrappy blanket, which I'll talk about in just a second. But these are gonna go to my sister. She has a slightly smaller foot than I do, about like a full foot size. So I had to knit it like an inch shorter. So they do still fit my feet, but they're quite tight. But those are gonna go to her, and I'm really super excited. So it's the simple skip pattern. It's a free sock pattern. And then my decreases, I just did every other row until I got to 8 here, and then an afterthought heel. So I picked up 2 stitches here, so it ended up being 68 stitches, and then decreased every row until every other row until I got to 14, and then decreased every row 12, 10, 8, and then Kitchener stitched the toe together. So it gives you a nice line. And these took me a while. Granted, I think it still took me less than a month to finish. I just wasn't motivated to get them done. But actually, the ends are all woven in. I'll probably just dunk them in some wool wash just so they smell good, and then send them off. So that's finished object number 1. Now the second one is the shrug that I showed last week, the Ghoul Bane shrug by Tina Johnston. She owns a shop in Oregon called Black Sheep at Orenco. Now, the pattern was fine for the whole bottom part. Woo! That got really bright. So the cabled stitching here, and then the stockinette down here. This is probably, I'm trying to get a good picture. That looks black. And then this probably looks a little too bright. Sorry about that. And then the top section is all eyelet rows. So you pick up the stitches on the top, and then you knit up. Now, this is the problem that I had with this. Let me show it to you. I'll put it on. It's really warm. Like, I even thought I could try to wear it just around El Paso this morning, because we had an appointment this morning at 8:30 and it wasn't hot yet, and I was just sweating walking around the house. So it's kind of like a cocoon shrug. You basically knit a gigantic rectangle, and then I stitched the corners together a couple inches right there. Now the problem I had, and the modifications I had to make, so if you want to make this, when I did this, I used the original chart in the pattern for the eyelets, and then I had some issues when I was getting to the spacing of the eyelets as you make the rows slightly farther apart. So you see how they're kind of closer together here, and they gradually get farther apart as you get to the top. I emailed the designer and asked, and I'm impatient. I'm a product knitter. I want the finished product as quickly as possible, especially if I'm super excited about it, which I was very excited to get this done, even though I can't really wear it. So I forged on ahead and I did the eyelets according to the pattern. And when I got to the spot that I was having some issues with, I emailed the designer. She got back to me like a day or two later because it was over the weekend. So, and the shop isn't open on Monday. And she got back and she changed the eyelet design. Now I think she just scooted it over one stitch. And so, but then so the shrug doesn't fall off your shoulders, you do the short row pattern. You can kind of see how this side here isn't as long, or is longer than the middle part. So you do these short row triangles on the side, but you have to also continue the eyelets. So I was having a lot of issues with that, but I'm a smart person. So I printed out some graph paper, and I charted out the short rows based on the eyelets that I had done already. And I'm actually really excited that I did this. It was a lot of knitting math. I don't think I'm giving away anything in the pattern, so you still have to purchase the pattern if you want to make it, because the cable isn't involved, but I think I said last episode it took me a couple repeats in order to really get the hang of it. But my short row section, I think it lines up pretty well. It's not supposed to line up. The short row started here on this row of eyelets, and you can tell that the eyelets are a little smaller than the ones up here. So this is the short row here on this side, and then you do another set of short rows here on this side. You can definitely see the eyelets are much smaller here. I was thinking about doing double yarn overs just to make them bigger, but it's off the needles now. I'm not going back. And nobody's gonna tell. Nobody's gonna know. It's just me that knows it. So, and then I stitched it together and I blocked it yesterday. It was much smaller before I blocked it. I was a little worried because it's a one size pattern. I am not skinny like the model that was on the thing, on the pattern picture, and it's the same pictures that are on Ravelry for the pattern. And I'm actually kind of proud I'm the only project right now that has finished this. But it's super cozy. This yarn, this soft Donegal tweed, I think I have I have a yarn, the yarn band. Studio Donegal soft Donegal. It comes in 100 gram skeins, 210 yards. So I had 4 total, 2 of the purple and 2 of the top. Irish bar fight on the bottom and Rocky Pass up here. It was a little rough to knit with, and I'm actually still kind of finding little pieces of grass. You know, sometimes you find like the little, like this one right here, these little tiny things in your, can you see that? Foliage, I guess. So, but it softened up a lot when I soaked it and blocked it. It took a very long time to block though. And then it has this hemmed edge here, which is really nice. So you just do your stockinette 1 row to make the bump on the end, and then you just whip stitch it together. But I think I finished this in like less than 2 weeks. When yarn is bulky, I was so excited to get it done, I just flew through it. So, but it's a great pattern. It's a great design. I need to email Tina and show her my finished product to let her see that it's all finished and how pretty it is. And it folds up really nicely. I think it'll be really great when it actually gets a little bit more chilly in El Paso, like if I'm walking Levi to the bus stop or anything like that. So I can wear it first thing in the morning. And then in the winter, from like December through February, it's maybe like highs in the 60s, so I might be able to get some use out of it. Even if it's just a short sleeve shirt and wearing it over, it's super nice and snuggly. And I might buy this yarn again to make something else. I kind of want a sweater in it, but I don't know. Like, I really, see if I can, you see all the different colors in the Irish bar fight, like the purples and the creams and the pinks. There's a little bit of olive green in there too. I just really like the different colored flecks of tweed instead of just having browns and creams instead. So, two finished objects for this week. and I'm super excited about this one. I might just sweat to death in it just to wear it anyways. Anybody else do that? I don't know why I'm knitting all these things that I can't wear for months. It makes me a little sad. Hopefully maybe I can wear them sometime soon, so we'll have to see, I guess. Okay, so I only had 2 finished objects, but I do have a couple works in progress to show, and one's a new cast on, so we'll show the oldies and then the new ones. So the first one I'll show is the toe-to-toe socks that I'm doing while striping my 2 yarns. I haven't gotten much farther in the sock, so I'm knitting them toe up. Judy's Magic Cast On, 8 stitches per needle. Increase every other row till I got to 60. Did a couple rows of plain stockinette in the Pickle Juice by Knit Picks, and then started striping Patton's Croy and Clover and Noro sock yarn in some random number. Now the hard part is this Noro sock yarn has these super thick sections, so it's making a super squishy sock. And I did take them off my 9-inch circulars. And I did that so I could try on my sock. And it hurts my hands. Like, I can do it, but I would prefer not to. So I'll keep the needles and I'll probably use them every once in a while to start things. But I got my Chiaogu 32-inch size 0, US size 0 needles, and I wanted to do it on here. Now I'm still planning on doing toe to toe. So knitting a whole sock from toe to cuff, doing some waist yarn, and then doing another sock cuff to toe, and then snipping the waist yarn and then binding off the cuffs. So hopefully these are kind of like something that I travel with. I have my 9 inches in there that I'm not planning on using. So I have a 50-gram ball of the Patton's Croy that originally was supposed to be some socks for Oliver, but then he changed his mind. And then the Noro sock yarn. I know it's a singles, and I'm hoping the plied yarn of the Pattons kind of pairs well with the singles to make it slightly stronger. But if not, they'll just be house socks, and I'll wear them around the house. And the heels are going to be done in Knit Pick, so the strong part, the parts of the sock that need to be strong are going to be done in actual like sock yarn that's meant to be sock yarn. So these are they're not really the on-the-go socks because I still have to carry around 2 balls of yarn, but it's being held in a Della Q bag that I've had. I got it when I did there's a stocking exchange every year on Ravelry, and I did this one in 2014, and my partner sent me this bag. The pull string was completely frayed, so I replaced it with just a regular ribbon that I had, a fun ribbon, and then the Della Q on the back. It's just a plain, it says knitting is sitting for creative people, which I completely agree. My husband yells at me all the time for bringing knitting everywhere. Anybody else's spouse do that? He likes that I knit, but he feels sometimes I do it too much. And I do. I probably could find other things to do other than knit all the time. Okay, second work in progress is my Second Avenue shawl by Amy Miller. I've gotten through the stripes. I shouldn't have that. There we go. And now I'm on to the second section of, this is color 4. So color 3 is at the bottom, which is still rolling. I'm really hoping blocking will help it. I don't think it's going to lay completely flat, but I'm hoping at least it'll stay down so you can see it. So 5 inches of this, and then doing the striping of color 4 and color 5. And then back to color 4 before you do color 2, which is going to be this right here. I'm pretty sure it's the same exact purple in the variegated. They're both from Peretz and Vola. And this is Island Yarn CM, and then this is Anzula Lace, which I held double. Now, if you go look up at a picture of this shawl, there's 5 colors. And I like the colors I have so far. But when I get to the striping of color 1 and color 3, so this blue down here, which I'll show in a cake, it's still sitting here. It's a little messy though, a lot messy. So color 3, this is what I have for color 1, and now I'm bored with it. And I don't know if I want to replace it with a peach or like a lemonade yellow or a mint green. I'm gonna knit up until I get to this color here, and I'm gonna make my decision. I really don't want to buy more yarn because I don't have a peach, a mint, or a yellow in my stash that's not like highlighter yellow. But I was thinking, I have this ball right here, of this Araucania? Nuble, yes. This went into my fade sweater. To do it with this, which is the colors I originally was going to use when I put all these colors for the Hohi mystery knit along. So this color is going to be next to the purple though. So I don't know if that's going to be too much or not. I have enough of this. I don't know if I have enough to do all of color 1 in this, but I could do this when it stripes with the blue, and then do when there's like a big section of color 1 next to color 2, and doing those two, and then just doing the striping with the green. And then I think I was gonna take this. This is just some Regia that I got when the store in Holmberg closed and all of their yarn was like super discounted. I was thinking of whatever's left with this I could dye. Let the kids paint it and then heat it in the oven. So I don't know. I have a while until I get to that point because I still have to knit. Toss those in my basket of stuff. Anybody else own an abundance of bags? Another reason why I don't buy project bags, because I have a lot of friends that sold 31 over the years, so I have a bunch of these baskets that can hold a lot of stuff. So this is holding my Second Avenue shawl because it's definitely not a travel knit just because it's so big so far, and it's going to get even bigger. I need to put it on a larger cord. I switched out cords to start a hat, but now this is too short and it bunches and it's not fun to knit with. So I still have a lot. I still have to knit another like 3.5 inches of this color before, oh, that's backwards. Sorry. 3.5 inches of this color here before I get to the purple, and then I knit a huge section of the purple, and then I would get to color 1. So I have some time to think about it. I have been perusing Etsy just to see what kind of peach colored yarns and mint and yellow yarns I could find, and I'm hoping, I don't know. I need help. If you have any suggestions, please put them in the bottom of what you think would pair well with all of this. And I can show the little schematic in the pattern. Here we go. I'll just fold this here. So like I colored everything. So I've done, it starts up here, so that's the blue, and then the purple, white, and blue variegated, then the stripes in here, and then the big section of purple, I don't know, and then this stripe here and all of these white stripes here are the same color. So I don't know what to do. I might print a couple of extras of this part of the pattern and color it just to see what might look good. I'm kind of leaning towards mint green or peach, because this one right here is also number 1. So all of these whites right here, 1, and then all of these here are all number 1s. So I don't know what to do. And if I'm not super certain about it, I'm not going to keep on knitting to figure it out. I don't know. Okay, I did, is that all my old ones? Oh, I should have done this in my finished objects. I did a couple squares on my Cozy Memories blanket. I'll just show them really quick. Trying to pick it up. This is backwards. There we go. So this is the right side. This is what I have so far. And then the new squares have the stitch markers on them, and I have 1 cast on right now, or on the needles. So I did these 2 here. This is Mothy and the Squid here, and I think this is Mint Rain yarns that I got in a swapless swap via Ravelry, and I'm pretty sure that this yellow right here is Mothy and the Squid too. And then this right here is the piano color that I used for my fade. I have like just enough to do a square. Maybe I might have to fudge using some like just navy blue at the end. And I did switch back to using my circulars. I was using Knitter's Pride Carbons with point protectors on one end, but the joins on these are driving me nuts. Little tangent here. I'm kind of picky when it comes to needles, and of course now I can't get this out of the package. There we go. And the Carbons I had seen a lot of people use for socks. Now I don't use DPNs for socks, but the join, can you hear? Are all Carbons like this? Are the zings like this? Because I don't know if it's just my set, but I feel like that join is really annoying. And so I felt it every single time I would put my needle into the stitch. So it'd be like click, 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 and little things like that really bother me. So now I feel I have these Carbons that I spent $10 to $12 on that I don't think I'm ever going to use. And I don't like holding on to things that aren't being used. So I switched back to my cheapy circulars, US size 1.5, 59 stitches, just a mitered square, center double decreases. So I'm almost done with this row here. So I'll do this square here and then another square here, and then keep going up. So that's my Cozy Memories blanket. And I grabbed all of my minis that I had left over from those squares, because they only take about 5 to 6 grams. And I put them all in here, and I weighed, and I have about 230 grams of excess fingering yarn from there to start another scrappy blanket. Julia from the Happy Knitting Podcast said her granny square blanket took about 600 grams. So I have quite a ways to go before I can actually finish another blanket, but I might at least cake it up, and then I'll have 200-ish grams to start a blanket, and then I have a whole bin of minis and leftover yarns to go to that blanket. It's just one of those things, it sits for a while, and then I'll sit and knit 2 or 3 squares in a day or two, and then it sits for another couple months. So, sorry to go on the tangent for those finished objects. Now my new cast on is a Martine hat. I said I wanted to knit a hat for a friend's daughter who was just diagnosed, and it's her second relapse of cancer. I said third last time. It's her third time since she was 3.5 diagnosed with cancer, so she's going through chemo again. So I am doing the Martine Hat. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I ordered, this is kind of part of my acquisitions, I ordered the 4-inch Chiaogu set so I could do hats. So the needles are slightly shorter. I can show you. I put them all in one case because the cases are exactly the same when they came in the mail. So both of these are size 2s, 4-inch and 5-inch. So now I can do hats without having to do magic loop, which was getting a little, not frustrating, but I like just to be able to knit around and around and around. So I am holding, because I didn't want to do wool because she's already had to cut her hair really short, so I'm just doing the loops and threads wool-like, and I'm holding it double because it's a super thin fingering weight yarn, and when I cast on the amount of stitches and I knit a round or two, it was super duper tiny and it wasn't stretching. So I did it double, and this is just a St. John's wort stitch, and so it's a 4 round repeat, and you do about 13.5 repeats, and then you start doing the decreases for the crown. So I'm hoping it fits. I'm going to use Levi as my model as it gets a little bit bigger, but when I started at Magic Loop before I got my 4-inch tips, it was stretching enough to fit my head, so I think it'll work for her, and it'll probably be a decent slouchy hat for her, and I hope she likes it. She's only 9, but I asked her mom if I could make it, and she said she would really like a slouchy hat to wear when she's in the hospital. So hopefully that'll be done soon. This is being held in an All Things by Hand shopping bag. I got this. This is a store in Fayetteville, North Carolina. My sister lives there, and when I went to go visit, we went and bought some yarn, and she got one of her bracelets fixed that was broken. So I think, is that all of my, I'm looking at my notes. Those are all of my current works in progress, minus the tote origami bag, but I haven't really done anything. I maybe knit like 2 or 3 rows. That's one of those things. I'm probably going to put that in a smaller bag because it's only 60 stitches and it's knit, purl, until you have a long enough piece to do it. So we will jump into what I got at Project Linus this last week. So they started doing these kits. I did a blanket like this before, but where you get these fleece squares and they have holes in them. You can see if I pull it apart, those little teeny tiny holes there. So you crochet into the small holes to put a border around the outside, and then you piece it together. So I got 2 kits. One is owls with plain white and a matching turquoise, aqua. And then I got a turtle set, a purple turtle set. Very similar colors. I have a very similar palette with plain purple and the same aqua green, aqua blue, turquoise, whatever. And I got 3 coordinating yarns, and whatever I have left after I've done those, I plan on crocheting just a regular blanket, probably another granny square. So I have these 3 here, and then I also have a like half of one of these in a dark teal. That would work. So I'm just gonna kind of mix and match, and then whatever I have left, I will make a blanket from this. So this is what I picked up from Project Linus last week. I also donated 2 blankets, and they celebrated 15 years in El Paso, not just the full Project Linus, but in El Paso there's been a group for 15 years now, and I think the total of blankets has been like over 20,000 or something. I'll put the information down below. There was an email sent out, and there was a lot of numbers thrown in there, so things just kind of get mushed together. So, and the other thing that I got were my needles. I only got the small set, so I only have sizes 2 through 8. Some are being used, so all the 5 inches are up here, 4 inches are down here, and then I bought a size 10 for the shrug to get done. And then they also send you cords. The shortest cord they send is an 8-inch cord. That's a long one. I won't pull it out because all of the cords are in here. The shortest cord is an 8-inch cord, which will give you a 16-inch circular with your 4-inch tips. So these were definitely an investment. I got paid for doing the bassoon in service that I taught last month with Isleta, and I was really excited to get these. They sat in my cart for a really long time before I decided to buy them. I very rarely buy things for myself, but we had the little bit of extra money from when I taught that in service, so I decided I wanted to do that since I have a lot of hats planned. And the Knit Guild for El Paso is doing chemo hats for the month of October, so I need to get on doing some more hats. I might need to go buy some more yarn because all I have is wool, and they want no wool in any of the hats. I don't know if I'll do bulky hats or fingering. Bulky would get faster, and then I could probably knit some more. So my puppy's sitting over in the corners. I also calculated all my knitting miles. I talked about this last week where I only had, I think, 9,000. And then I added up all the projects that I've done. This doesn't include my socks that I just showed or the shrug because I haven't added those in. But I've knit so far, from the beginning of the year till now, I have knit 15,162 yards of yarn. Crocheted too, because I also added in the crochet blankets that I've been working on for Project Linus. So it's a lot, and I'm not even done. It's only August. I also didn't include the fleece blanket with the edging on it, the one with the puppies that I think I showed 2 episodes ago. I didn't include that one because I didn't weigh the yarn. I don't think I'll include those. I mean, it is like crochet stuff, but I don't know. We'll see. So, also talk about some stuff that I've been watching and or listening to while I'm knitting. I've gotten into re-watching How I Met Your Mother from the beginning. I think I'm somewhere in season 2, but it's something that I can watch a couple episodes. It's on in the background. I don't necessarily have to watch what's going on. I've already seen the whole series. I didn't want to start rewatching The Office because I've watched The Office from beginning to end at least 2 times. I didn't want to watch Friends. I was in the mood for How I Met Your Mother. And then I might do Parks and Rec. if you love any of these shows, please put it down below on if you enjoy shows like that. So me and my husband are big fans of The Office, and I really got into Parks and Rec. We were both How I Met Your Mother fans. We both totally disagree on the ending. He hated the ending of the show, and I enjoyed it. I'm evidently in the minority for that, because a lot of How I Met Your Mother fans didn't enjoy how they ended the series. But, oh well, what you gonna do? You didn't write it, right? I've also watched a couple of podcasts. I've been exploring different things to watch throughout the week. I always watch Legacy Fiber Arts, Naughty Nitwits. Sometimes I have to watch those in pieces. Naughty Nitwits and Girls in the Yarn Cafe both have very long podcasts, so I usually have to split it up. And the Anxious Knitter podcast with Joy. I just started watching KnitLib. I don't remember. I've only watched one episode, and I haven't gone back to kind of binge watch. I've also watched Tommy from Squirrel Pie Productions recently. Taylor from Wool Needles Hands, but she's been on vacation. She just got back, so she'll probably podcast sometime in the next week. Celeste from Yarn to Table, Caitlin from Wool Jewel, Anna from Dunkelgrün. There's just so many out there. So if you don't find one podcast that you like, there's got to be something else out there that you can like. Now, the ones that also have businesses, I tend to fast forward through the parts where they do shop updates, like Amy from Stranded podcast. So because I'm not buying anything, so as much as I love to watch the yarn, if I don't watch it, then I'm not going to be tempted to buy anything that I really can't get right now. I really wish I could get an advent calendar this year. I don't need it, it's just something I want. And when you only have one income for your whole family, you kind of have to, you put your wants a little bit to the side, because, you know, your water bill and food for the family is a little bit more important. So, those are just a few that I've been watching. I should probably just do like a little scroll through of all the ones that I have been watching. And sometimes like I'll skip an episode, or I won't watch the whole thing. Kids interrupt me. I run out of time. I get tired. Blah, blah, blah. So that's just a couple of things. I haven't really been listening to anything except for the Very Pink Knits audio podcast, and I'll listen to those in the morning sometimes when I'm eating breakfast and the boys are playing. Stacy is super talented, and I really enjoy, because their podcasts are relatively short. They're only about 30 minutes, and they answer questions. They sometimes have interviews. So if you're listening to something, or if you're looking for something that's audio only, do the Very Pink Knits podcast. And I think Woolful is also an audio one. Another video one is Christy Glass. She does interviews. I wish I could do stuff like that, but El Paso, there's the closest yarn shop is about an hour away, because the one that was in town closed. And I'm sure that there are some fibery things that I could find to maybe do a fun interview with, but I don't know where they're at. So until then, you guys just get to see all my projects and my works in progress and hear about my life. Okay, so if you are just here for the knitting content, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to chat a little bit about our life right now, and I hope to see you guys next week. The next 2 weeks are a little busy because I have to register Levi for school, and he starts school and I start school. So I'm going to try really hard to maybe do this once a week, but there are no promises and no guarantees depending on how busy I am. But thank you so much for stopping by. If you want to check out the Ravelry group, I'll put that down in the bar below, and you can go check it out and join and do some introductions. Thank you so much for any new subscribers that have showed up. I know I've gotten to a whopping 16. And like I said last time, I don't do this for publicity. I like doing it to share my knitting stuff, because as much as I love my husband, I'm sure whenever I talk to him about knitting stuff, his eyes just kind of glaze over. And it's the same thing if he talks to me about percussion stuff. But he's really sweet and he listens, but I like to be able to share with people that would understand. And so thank you so much for coming by, and thank you for subscribing and liking videos, etc., etc., etc. Like, big love to all of you guys. Thank you so much. So if you're just here for knitting, then I will see you guys next time. If you want to hang on and hear about our not quite so exciting life, then grab your knitting, and if you haven't already, and have a seat. So like I said, this week we celebrated our 9th wedding anniversary, me and my husband. We did go out and we got pho, which is really delicious soup that there's a really good place in town that has it. So we went out without the kids. Unfortunately, Levi got sick and barfed on the babysitter. I'm so sorry, Emily, if you ever watch this, if that happened. We apologize profusely, and we could have, if we had gotten home like 5 minutes earlier, it wouldn't have happened, because it happened basically as we were driving into the neighborhood. She's a coworker of John's, and I just felt really bad. So that was really great. We didn't go out on our anniversary, we went out on Sunday before. And then my husband Jonathan has been really big on watching the Drum Corps International Finals. He used to march. If you don't know anything about it, it is, he would kill me for saying this, it's basically fancy marching band. There's no woodwinds in it, and these kids pay money. They travel all around the country to perform their shows, and so this is the week of semifinals, quarterfinals, finals are on Saturday, tomorrow. So he has been busy watching or streaming it, and then the kids watch it. They kind of are interested in it. We're hoping that they'll get interested in music since we're so involved. I actually need to purchase Oliver a ukulele, because every time I try to bring mine out to learn something, he wants to play it. So for his birthday, we'll probably buy, or maybe for Christmas, we might give both of the boys just an inexpensive ukulele. So then if it gets broken, it's not a big deal. But, you know, mine's an expensive, it's not the teeny one. Like, ukuleles come in different sizes. Mine's the next size up, and it was expensive, but it wasn't super expensive, not like my bassoon or Jonathan's drum sets or xylophones or anything like that. My kid came to tell me that they both had picked an episode and now he picked another one. Don't you just love it how kids just want to tell you everything? So, music, DCI. So John's really into watching that. The kids aren't super excited about watching a whole lot of it, but they enjoy seeing like the really cool uniforms that the color guard and the band wears. And John he really enjoys watching it. I enjoy watching it too. I'll probably just watch finals. We used to go to quarterfinals. They would show them in theaters across the nation, where it's basically like seeing a movie, but you're there for a very long time. I think it starts at 4:30 and it's not done until 10, because there are a lot of cores that they have to get through. So if that just went over your heads, I'm sorry. If you're not involved in DCI or know anything about it, then it's one of those things where it's like somebody's speaking French to you and you don't understand French. So we've been doing that, and then today we had an appointment this morning, and then at 1 o'clock we are going to post for Back to School Brigade. It's through Operation Homefront, where we can get school supplies for Levi for school, and he should be pretty much prepared. I've been buying some school supplies here and there. Grandma bought some, my mother bought some for him, and Oliver's staying at home this year, so I'm trying to do some homeschool stuff. Like the highlight of my week, other than the anniversary, was we got a brand new printer. Our printer was almost 8 years old. Yes, we got it in 2009. So it's almost 8 years old, and you had to have it hooked up to the computer. It only printed in black and white. You couldn't do front and back printing or anything like that. So we got a brand new printer, just kind of like basic midline, and I signed up for HP Instant Ink, which is really great. You pay a monthly fee, and the printer tells the company when to send new ink, because you always run out of ink when you need it. Granted, you'll always need ink whenever you need to print. So I get a certain amount of printouts per month, and then I pay that monthly fee, and then ink just gets sent to my house. It's really fantastic. So it'll be great for doing like I'm not doing homeschooling with Oliver because he's only 3.5, but the kids always want to do coloring sheets or word searches or connect the dots. stuff like that. Levi likes to do it too. So then I found I was printing a lot, and then me printing patterns, you know, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a decent, like, good use out of it. So I'm really hoping we'll get, and it doesn't have to be hooked up to the computer, so it doesn't have to be on the desk, which is really great. And I was supposed to teach baby wearing at one of the group clinics this week. What a lot of hospitals I've noticed doing, they put people around their due date into group appointments for, like, just getting vitals. They're not like the big appointments for when you're pregnant, just when you need to go and get, like, your blood pressure, your weight checked, and stuff like that. And I was supposed to teach baby wearing, but there was a mix-up in the scheduling while we were there, and it ended up being canceled. So I drove all the way to the hospital, and it was canceled. I was kind of bummed. I did have a certification with Baby Wearing International to be a baby wearing educator. And I also have a certification to be a lactation consultant. It's not the fancy, like, international IBCLC, but I got my advanced lactation consultant certification through Happy Children Project. Guys, I almost made it through a whole episode without somebody saying I'm hungry. Almost. So close. So close. Oliver shouting, "Mom, I'm hungry." I don't even think it's lunchtime yet. I can't see the time. I need to put my cuckoo clock up in my area. Maybe I'll do, like, a little tour one day. It's not super fancy. I always use things that we already have in the house, usually for storage and stuff. And I was talking to my friends that was reorganizing and rearranging things in here so I could have the chair. And I was like, I need a little bit less stash or one more bookcase. And she's like, one more bookcase sounds great. She's also the same friend, Janice, hi if you're watching, that sent a message saying that there's this island off of Maryland that is for sale. It's called Goat Island. I was like, we could have a knitting island. We had to call it Brioche Island. That's the only way that John was going to get behind funding it. But we could have all these goats. But, you know, if we don't take serious account into climate change, that island could not be there in 50 years. So, but that's a different story. It's a little bit of my science background, I guess, science opinion. So, but she told me I should just buy one more bookcase. And I was like, no, I think I can knit a little bit more stash down, because this bookcase was standing tall, so I only had, like, this much space on top to store things. So then I turned it sideways and I ended up getting, like, 3 times the amount of storage. So I have to put all of my yarn bowls. I have 3 of them, and they were all given to me. I didn't buy any of them. And I'm probably not going to use them, except, like, this one holds all my minis right now. This is the one that broke when we were moving. I always, like, want to be like, let me just put, like, one more layer of crazy glue on it just in case. Sorry, I'm tangenting a lot, and this episode's gonna get a little long, so. But DCI, I was gonna teach baby wearing. The new parent support system is looking into starting a breastfeeding class, which I might be able to be in charge of. Not really in charge of, but, like, run it, sort of, but only on a volunteer basis, because they don't have the funding to, I guess, hire somebody to do it. But I'm supposed to hear back about that, which would give me and Oliver something to do once a week, and I'd be able to help moms breastfeed and get information out there on breastfeeding and stuff like that. So that's exciting. I'm starting to kind of find my place here in El Paso, and it's only taken 8 months to do it. So that's really exciting, because it's taken me a really long time just to enjoy being here. And usually what happens is, by the time you really enjoy where you're at and you've made your friends and you have your support system, then you end up moving again. So that's the one disappointing thing about being in the military. Like, we do get to make a lot of friends, but then we always have to say goodbye to them. And sometimes you run into them again, especially if they're in the band. I do have one really good friend here, Carrie, and she lives just a mile down the road in the neighborhood. So that's really nice. And I have my knitting group. I'm hoping maybe to get into other different fibery things. I need to go check out the Las Cruces yarn shop, because I signed up for Fiber Share, and since there's no specialty shop here, I don't want to have to order from a whole bunch of different places, have it shipped here, and then have to ship the box out to whoever I get partnered with. That's open, I think, for 2 more days. Signups are until the 13th, so if you're watching, you still have some time to sign up. and get partnered with somebody to send some stuff to. But other than that, I think that's pretty much all that's going on in life. Things are getting busy now that school is starting, and hopefully I can do this a little bit more frequently. I'm really excited I got to do this a week after my last one. So if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for stopping by, and stay cool for the rest of the summer. I know some of you guys are boiling where there's no air conditioning, like the Pacific Northwest. So hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.